So my last section, my last part today is very simple. Engaging parents, why and how. So so you're all in a position, you all work for minor hockey associations? Most of you? Yeah? Okay. Sorry? 18 over, awesome. Okay, so here's a question for you. There's resistance to change in hockey, but who's resisting? What's the first answer? Parents. Who else? Coaches. Minor hockey system, there are always coaches. Most of the coaches are parents, 95, 97% of them. Who else is resisting? Players, not so. Not so much. Minor hockey associations, who runs them? Who else is resisting? Leagues. Parents. And do not underestimate, for us, for example, in Banff, we play in a league called CAL, Central Alberta Hockey League. We have to travel 4 hours to Lethbridge to go play a 60-minute game. So if you're talking about multi-sport, that's tough when you've got 2 of those games over the weekend to schedule anything else. You've got 2 8-hour days, well, actually 10-hour days gone. So there's a lot of resistance. And one thing we realize, it's always about engaging parents. And it's not that they resist because they want to resist or because they're really opposed, but what we find is when you educate a bit about these things, that it's actually better for kids, they buy in most of the time. So what I'll do very quickly, I'll share 5 things that we've learned about engaging parents. Okay, so at Active for Life, our main purpose is to engage parents. I'll share 5 things that you can do, or 5 rules that you can apply that maybe will help you engage parents. So the first thing is that we realize is every parent is the same, or almost every parent. They want their kids to be healthy, happy, and successful. So you got to sell them what they want. I'll give you an example. This is the LTPD document on Hockey Canada website. It's a 38-page document. So first of all, if you're a parent and you're interested in LTPD, finding this is extremely difficult. It's buried somewhere. The second thing is, it's 38 pages long. So I sat down with Paul. I said, Paul Carson, Hockey Canada, Paul, if you really want to change something, you got to simplify this. So we came up with something like that. LTPD is good for all kids. 4 key things that you get out of LTPD. More active and healthier kids, happier kids, more successful at school and socially. Remember the diagram I showed you? Physically literate kids are more active, and more active kids do better in every aspect of life. And guess what? More skilled players. Can't lose. So that's the first thing. You've got to give parents what they're looking for. When you have a presentation to parents, don't have someone talk for 2 hours about the science behind LTPD, because that will not work. They'll turn off. Tell them what they want to know. The second thing is do it in a language they understand. So we come back to the same diagram. LTPD is good for all kids. Well, we changed that at Active for Life. We called LTPD the new normal in hockey. And I tell you, that really resonated with parents. We published an article called The New Normal. And we talked about Brett Sutter after the junior championship last year that basically described in a very short article the new normal, or LTPD. Smaller ice time, more skills, less emphasis on winning, and so on and so on. That article was read by over 50,000 people. It was a very short and simple article, but we named it the right thing. It created the right effect. The other thing is you got to make the information easy to find. So we developed this little postcard that's on your table. And the postcard is simple. First of all, the design in the front was done with Hockey Canada. And you see already the emphasis on multi-sport. It sends a message. The message is simple. To be a hockey player, there's other stuff you can do. And then in the back, we tried really hard to simplify as much as we could in a very concise format and using language that parents would understand why LTPD is good. Now, we do this with all kinds of organizations. In the last 12 months, third-party organizations distributed close to 300,000 of these postcards to parents across the country. Not only in hockey, we're starting in hockey. We've distributed probably 30,000 hockey so far in different provincial branches. But you've got to make the information appealing and easy to find. Another thing we did is we created what we call a landing page. And a lot of our provincial branches are actually putting a box, a big box or a banner on their website that leads to a section of our website called our hockey landing page. And we'll go there for a second. So what we've done, we realized, hey, there's a lot of people who come and like our hockey articles. So we assemble all of our hockey article on one page. We called it Active for Life /hockey. And a lot of our partners come to this. And we've got articles there like the one I told you about Brent Sutter and what's the new normal, but also things like bringing the new normal to your community, how Max Domi is much more than a hockey player because he's fighting with diabetes and so on. What Hockey USA, how Hockey USA is actually copying us, something that everyone says in the background, but now we're saying openly. You know, Hockey Canada top 6 off-ice sports and activities to help goalies get better. So that's an outcome of me going to Corey McNabb and saying, Corey, you really believe in multisport? Well, put your money where your mouth is and tell me what other sports Hockey Canada promotes. And they came up with these articles. So we've made the information easy to find. There's all kinds of articles on there for hockey. We've done the same for baseball, for soccer, and I think that's it for sports. So you really have to make the information easy to find. You've got to pre-chew it for people. You've got to present language they understand, and then they do actually get to it and they share it. The other thing that you got to do, and we found this very effective, is every time you've got a chance to connect LTPD or physical literacy with celebrities, do it. And we're not talking about Steve Nash or Steve Stamkos. We're talking about local celebrities. For example, in Banff, I had some BHA players. They were midget age players, so midget AAA players, come talk to the novice. Well, the novice were looking at these BHA players as if they were gods. And these guys explained to these younger kids the importance of doing other activities and also of actually practicing a lot of skills. So that shaped these novice players from the get-go. A lot of these kids are now practicing a lot of skills. They're shooting a lot of pucks, doing a lot of puck handling, and doing other stuff. And it has created an effect. So whenever you have a chance, use junior players, midget AAA players, and so on, and spread the message. The last trick that we've learned is that with the right story, parents will engage. I'm drinking water right now. Why am I drinking water? Because it's good for me. You know, I walked in my son's classroom and there's water on the desk. And I thought about this. I said to myself, when I was in grade 6, I was barely allowed to go out for a drink. I needed a hall pass. But now it's become the norm. What has changed? Well, here's what happened. Science came out saying drinking 8 glasses of water is good for you. At first, the science was not very sexy the way it was presented. It was very complex, and I actually read some of these research and these studies, and they were actually boring to read, but someone came out with a concept. Make it simple. 8 cups of water a day is good for you. It's good for everything. So that was the first key moment in this movement, okay? Simplify the science. The second thing that happened is that celebrities were seen with water bottles everywhere. I don't know if you remember the 90s. At one point, you could not open any magazine without seeing a celebrity with an Evian water bottle. That was great for Evian. It also was great for water consumption overall. So much so that it created a backlash movement against the plastic bottle, but that's another story. But the fact that celebrities were drinking water made the leap from the concept and the science to actually parents, especially mom, adapting the concept. So then you started seeing mostly women drinking water. I remember doing presentations in those days, and I would look across the room, especially in corporate circles, it would be mostly women drinking water. And then they realized, wait a second, if drinking water is good for me, if it's good for my focus, if it's good for my intellect and my body and everything, well, it's good for my kid. So then moms started going to principals and superintendents of schools and teachers, asking those people to change the rules. Allow our kids to drink water in the classroom. And now it's the norm. So this is what we want to do with LTPD. It's like water for you. The science is clear, it's better, it makes you healthier, it develops better hockey players. So what we want is we want to change the water into LTPD. And the way to do it is to spread the message and say how good it is. Now, I've got a wish list as I leave. The first one is that all hockey associations become delivery point of quality LTPD programming. You're doing a huge step here that I've just saw. I would like every hockey association across Canada to do that. And believe me, it's not the norm. I could go on. I was telling your president about the experience my son had this year with a coach who thought that he was coaching a professional team when he was really coaching Pee-wee players, and the kids did not learn much, and they didn't have fun. He wasn't following the guideline. It was not age appropriate. So I really wish that every association in this country could actually do what is good for kids at every age. But the second thing I really would like to imply on you is that you can change programming and you'll have a huge effect on kids. But you can also leverage every program into a delivery point of educational material to parents. The more parents know why LTPD is good, the easier it will be applied. The easier hockey will evolve, and the more kids will stay in the game, and better players will create. So, in closing, there's one thing that we've realized. It's the quiet majority that we need to engage. Every time we talk about this, a majority of parents understand, and they really see the logic of it. Of course, there's always a minority that's very vocal, but it's really the quiet majority that we want to engage. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you've learned something. And if you have questions, please go ahead. Thank you.